From Times Square in the heart of New York City, welcome to All Night with Joey Reynolds. Joey's guest tonight, actor-entertainer Johnny Russo. Restaurant owner Johnny Cha-Cha. Actor-director Tony Lobianco. Comedian Johnny Deluxe. Chairman of the Consumer Electronics Association, Jack Wayman. Our musical guests tonight, Jennings and Ellen Stardusters. Ladies and gentlemen, Joey Reynolds.
Carl, do you have a mic on? Do you have a mic on? Okay, we have friends, more friends. Keep making friends. I think what we're doing here is I'm going to go door to door with this show if it doesn't work on television. I think it's great to have an involvement in the community of everybody we know, and I want to share with you some of the fine people in town that you might not know necessarily, but you know them by their works. One of whom is Peter Weedfald, who is a wonderful marketing genius. Does not like the word genius, but I do. It describes him adequately, accurately. And he's done so many things, and we'll get to those in a minute. Next to him is Jack Wayman, who is the former chair of the Consumer Electronics Association, which puts on the world's largest trade show. It's called the Consumer Electronics Show. And we were just spent a week in Las Vegas for the world's best trade show. Jack is a guy who started the show 40 years ago in Chicago, moved it to New York, and subsequently to Las Vegas in the 60s, where it now is the biggest trade show in the world, as I mentioned. And the Consumer Electronics Show, what makes it special is that it is an innovator show where the money in America comes from our science, I think. It comes from innovation. And these days, connectivity. Those are the two key words that we got this year out of the show, and I believe them to be true. Peter Weedfald is one of the men responsible for putting these foreign nations, Korea, China, Taiwan, and now Japan, I think, too, in place. He was the marketing VP and the only board member of the Caucasian variety for a Korean company called Samsung. So he took that place of bringing it from, I think, maybe 38th place to second in 3 years or something, if I'm right. Is that correct?
Well, something along those lines, yeah. We certainly were, way back when, a little downtrodden in terms of both technology and, as Jack knows, position in the marketplace. And it took about 6.5 years, and we were fortunate to become the world's fastest growing brand according to Interbrand, published in Business Week, for 5 or 6 years in a row, and took that business from about a $200 million business to about $3.5 billion just in consumer electronics in about 5.5, 6 short years. So we're very proud of all the work of all the employees and a connection between Korea and the United States to get that done. It's not an easy task.
Now, Jack was around when Sony first popped up with those brothers who owned that company, right?
That's right. Came out of Sony Super Scope. The tape recorder people, the Tuschinskis, had that little piece of business, and then they made their beachhead. Panasonic and Sony were the first two Japanese to make their beachheads about 1959, 1960, when they really landed ashore over here.
Were you around when RCA was putting NBC on the map?
Well, I happened to grow up in the business at retail with 12 stores in Washington in 1947, and then I was with RCA as their largest distributor, 6 states out of Washington, for 10 years after that, and then to the association in 1962.
Well, the electronics business drives the economy right now, doesn't it?
Yeah, I would suggest that the electronics business, especially with the hyper-changing short product life cycles of technology, any business that is fast-paced and has increases in productivity at the speeds that we see multiple constituents, so retail channel and internet, are turning products very, very quickly. New products are thundering out of the Asian warehouses as architected by US-based organizations very, very quickly. So increases in productivity deliver increases in profitability. And the really good news is that the technology is hyper-leaping itself over and over again. And now what we have is what I would call the me economy, because the me economy is all about the social engineering and social networking value propositions that are delivered by very, very fast-paced new technologies and new platforms. For example, 4G, which, as you know, Verizon has announced 4G. AT&T will have their 4G actually out in the springtime, but it'll deliver somewhere between 5 to 8 megabytes of data in literally a second.
Yeah.
So that is going to change the concept of delivering real-time data and information, and deliver a piece of glass that has very fat data around it that allows a consumer to choose its own dashboard. And that dashboard, as we know, is made up sometimes of content locations, sometimes it's made up of widgets and applets and gaming and content and value propositions and Facebook and YouTube. So the me economy is all about me as a consumer, and as long as we continue to leapfrog technologies, we will continue to deliver an economic opportunity that is global in scale, that will continue to help drive the overall GDP of the country.
Now, Jack, you never saw this coming, did you? 40 years ago.
Yes, it seemed like only yesterday when I didn't see it coming. But you're right about that. Hey, when we started the association in '62, we had a radio and a phonograph and a TV set, and that was it, and it was black and white.
Yeah.
And then we were a $5 billion business when I started the show in '67 at retail, and we are a $300 billion business at retail. And that's the purpose really of CEA, the Consumer Electronics Association. There are 15,000 trade associations in America. We are among the top 5 in Washington. Yes, we're lobbyists, but mainly we grow the industry with show proceeds. We're not owned by an entrepreneur, we're owned by the industry itself, and all the money from the show goes back in to promote the industry. And by the way, that first show, we had 100,000 square feet. Now we are 1.8 million square feet. That's 45 football fields.
Wow.
And then
you and I got
we
around.
had 3,000 exhibitors that you visited at 2,999.
I was going to say, we went around on these little golf carts. You called me a cripple in training.
That's right, you were training with me. And then they came 150,000. These are buyers and sellers, but whoop, it's more than a trade show. Who was there? 10,000 press from the worldwide. That's where we get, I call it refined hype that they gave out. From raw hype, we give out refined hype. And then investors, entrepreneurs, Wall Street was there, Hollywood was there, every motion picture. So that's what we're talking about. What Peter says, content is everything.
Right, but let me throw a little jaunty spirit into all this, because it sounds so wonderful, so she and Tony.
Yes.
But behind the scenes, Joey, this business is not for the faint of heart, as you also know. Yes. We will see a very large museum of failed products along the way. We will see car crashes, we will see good intentions, we will see products that won't make it to market, and we will see a sea-level change in technologies and platforms that we're actually witnessing today. Yeah. So the television business, and thank you, by the way, for setting up all the channels of distribution, made my life a little easier way back when, but the television business is really turning into the razor blade business. Yeah. Before, performance from a retailer, performance from a manufacturer, performance on a global scale was all about putting together the first inch through a piece of glass to watch constricted and constrained content. So back in the 60s and 70s, there were basically 7 channels of TV, And with $1, you could propagate or advertise to the entire U.S. economy with those 7 channels. Now we know there's over 560 different cable organizations available. But because it's the razor blade business, the piece of glass now is not primarily where you're going to make your money. I think you've heard the announcement that Apple has now downloaded 10, count them now, 10 billion applets or servlets or widgets down to a piece of glass. Samsung themselves announced they downloaded over 2 million applications through a television. The formats of the televisions are changing. You're going to go from a 16:9 to a 21:9, if you will, so that there's more room on each side of the screen now. So while you're watching TV, you can multitask and bring down applications, maybe play games while you're watching one of your favorite TV shows. The entire concept is changing. The reason I said razor blade is the blades are actually all the content you download, Hollywood content, applications, widgets, servlets, gaming, that instantaneously is going to be monetized through the ecosystem. So the piece of glass before was kind of stayed, if you will. Today, that piece of glass is really moving, and as you know, at CES this year, really exciting. Everybody get ready for what we call slates. And slates, as you know, are the pads, the iPads, if you will.
Yeah.
And Android.
Everybody's got one.
Yeah, Android 3.0, which is the new, they call it the honeycomb operating system, designed just for slates and tablets, is really taking over in a very big way. And I think there's probably about, I think the numbers we're going to see 70 million tablets sold.
And now that Apple is Verizon, nobody cares.
Well,
I mean, it's too late now because everybody's in the game.
Well, if you the differences between the two platforms are stunning. AT&T actually is about 40% faster today than Verizon in terms of delivering that kind of content. AT&T also benefits because CDMA for Verizon doesn't work so well on an international platform, and it goes on and on. There are really advantages between the two carriers, but the fact of the matter is, again, it's the me economy. The winner is the consumer, and as we continue to deliver more glass at less cost, with more content, with more choice, that actually can be monetized on the spot. Imagine a child going into the TV room and just saying, I want that game. Bang, somebody just made some money.
Yeah.
So this is great for the economy. The CE business this year in America is about $186 billion. On a global scale, we're going to tip $1 trillion in consumer electronics being sold globally.
Then why are all the shows the same?
Meaning?
Why is the content all the same? Well, you got seven different people they rag on all the pop culture shows, you know, the celebrity shows. There's the coverage of Egypt is overdone by 500 different operations. It's overdone. I mean, what is there any sanity in this?
I have the answer.
Which is?
Somebody needs to sit down, back to sanity, and when Channel 2, we won't even mention the call letter, says, oh yeah, Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, we're going to hit 25 million households. Channel 3 says, yeah, we're going to hit 10 million households. Channel 4 says, oh, we're going to do 40 million households. Channel 5 says, oh, we're going to do 18. And there's another 200 channels to go. Excuse me, when are we going to wake up and go, first of all, if you're not on a BlackBerry, you're on a notebook. If you're not on a notebook, you're on an iPhone. If you're not on an iPhone, you're on an iPad. If you're not, you're multitasking all of it, number one. Number two, there's only 110 million households, Joey. How could you aggregate and galvanize all those channels? Because when you add it all up, Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, according to Television Land, we don't have 110 million households. We got probably more like 700 million households, which is incorrect.
Right.
So once the relationship of direct marketing and direct return on investment comes about, meaning on the internet, you spend some money, you know how many people looked at it, how many people touched it, and how many people bought, that's coming to television. And so television will become the most greatest, widest, broadcasted weapon of choice for direct marketing we have ever seen in our lifetimes. And I'm going to be the person who's the harbinger here, or the augurer, who says, a year from now, 2 years from now, you'll be watching a TV show, it's a soap opera, you take your mouse, you click on the dress, and it says, this dress is available at Macy's, here's the colors, here's the sizes. While you're watching a show, click on it, buy it now, and if you buy it now, I'll give you $10 off.
Now,
here it comes. Get ready. It's going to be fun.
Where do I fit in? Am I the weapon of mass destruction here?
Well, let's click on your clothing right now. Well, $17,000 for that jacket. Jack, what do you think about that?
Well, that looks like a rental suit to me.
It's a Joey rental.
The Joey Rentals. Oh,
Now,
very
we were
nice.
going to show a tape tonight of Noah Lee. Who we're going to
a good
scrap it
friend.
because we're talking about this stuff. Now, Noah Lee has Monster Cable. He's a great guy.
Yep.
And a good friend of Jack's. And Jack, of course, has had everybody since homeroom. And we did a thing at the Consumer Electronics Show. I did the Reese Cups thing, Noah Lee, Panasonic. And I want to run them on the air. I would rather we do this right now because we're not going to have time to do everything.
Right.
And you got to spoon feed because people are not all electronic savvies.
Right.
I think some people really want to know where to start. What's the starter kit?
Right.
Now you have a company called Gen 1 Ventures.
Yes, sir.
And it's General 1 Ventures, right? Is that what
Well,
it's
it's not General Electric. It's Gen 1 Ventures. But you asked a really good question about where do you start.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, the first place people have to start, regardless of your age, place, and time, is you've got to have, you got to propagate wireless internet into your home. I don't care if you're 75, 25, 15, if you don't have the capability of giving yourself a Wi-Fi advantage, a connection advantage, and
we're back to connectivity again.
Right, you got to have that. And in today's world, for those that have not had that opportunity, you just don't, the pylon into content and information, because the internet store went on speed. It's the fastest unionization of push and pull on the planet. I can go out to France right now, and in 2 nanoseconds, France comes back to me. And that's commerce, that's opportunity, that's social networking, that's social engineering. To get started, you've got to have that platform. Then you can choose your weapons of choice. And I do believe that the best way to start, the least expensive way, is to buy a cell phone that allows you to have Wi-Fi, that it's a smartphone that allows you to have digital content.
And it's over the air.
And it's over the air, that's correct.
Which we need, like this digital television channel we're on right now.
Yes.
It's over-the-air television, and it's on cable, because everything
That's
that's
right.
over-the-air is on cable, if
That's
it's
right.
worthwhile.
You're right. And that crash, as you know very well, is coming so fast. And, is Comcast a partner of Samsung, or is Comcast a competitor of Samsung? Well, they're both.
Yeah.
Everyone is competing, and everyone's trying to partner at the same time. Is Netflix a partner, or is Netflix a competitor? So there's all of this going on, and the rhyme and reason for the consumer is jump in. Joey, they got to jump in. They got to taste all of these different information channels and fun channels and really realize it and play with it, but build their own stake in the ground on the wild, wild west that we call the internet.
Yeah, we 5 years ago we said it's going to be the battle of the eyeballs. Is the computer going to win out as the vehicle, the display screen, or television? They're both going to win out, right? They're winning out.
Right.
We got the NetPad and we got the NetBook.
The war is really now OS, operating systems, and platforms. Platforms in terms of what kind of chip is going to be in this device that allows it to have the longest battery life and allows it to run as fast as you possibly can. And then the operating system, Android versus Apple's platforms.
Or Google's. Google has one too, Zoom.
Well, Zoom is actually Motorola's name of its new Slate tablet.
And what's Galapagos? Galapagos is one of them too.
Yeah. So there's all these different. So in essence, you've got platforms, you've got programs. Right. Consumers don't want to know about it. Stop talking tech speak, Peter. So back to the consumers. This is all for you. Yeah. Get out there and play. Get on the net. Buy a cell phone. Buy a tablet. Now here's the really good news on tablets. What? As you know, it's CES. I have never seen so many tablets, and ladies and gentlemen, a tablet just means it's a flat piece of glass, very, very thin, with no keyboard, that you actually have a touch screen and you can navigate and articulate around the internet and build your own franchise or your own opportunity with it. There must have been, I think there's 15 to 25 different tablets coming. I mean, even Kobe's got one coming, and Samsung does, and Motorola does, LG does, they all do.
I've got one.
Yeah, I've got several of them, but Android, especially Android 3.0 on the Honeycomb platform, right now is being voiced. And you mentioned Zoom. The Motorola Zoom won CES, at least CNET Best of Show, I think some other awards, because one of the things that Android does on this Honeycomb is they allow Flash on the device. Yeah. And Apple and Adobe Flash, for some reason, just never got together. So, listen, it's exciting, it's energizing, it's fun. Jack, you have built a franchise that started many, many years ago, and I want to publicly say, for me, thank you for my career. Thank you for being the engineer and actually seeing into the vista of the future and giving this pie-line of a future, because I think it's all restarting again right now. But your pioneering helped to deliver all of this, and I'm really, really appreciative of it, so thank you.
Well, that's the mission of the association, to grow the industry and think of a world without CES. This is our 67th show, and everyone was there. I mean, the educators at Wall Street, Hollywood, the broadcasters were all there.
I've got all the tapes that we shot. I'm not going to run them tonight, but we're going to have them on the air, okay? The things that we shot, because they're relevant. There are people who are geniuses, like Peter here, and they speak of their philosophies more than holding up the product, because the product comes from first of all, you create something that's in your mind. And I think these great minds we have in the industry are going to be the salvation of the country. I really do. I believe the electronics.
My successor, Gary Shapiro, has done a tremendous job of heading the association and the show. And he came out at the show, and you saw him and you interviewed him with the book called Comeback, which means that our technology and our innovations are going to bring us out worldwide, not just in America, globally, out of this recession.
Well, we are just to be clear, we are a much larger manufacturer, believe it or not, than China. As a country today, we're a much larger manufacturer. But we also, when we're not getting credit for it, is content. United States of America is a worldwide leader in manufacturing, gaming content, manufacturing, these applets that are coming out, these applications coming down, these widgets, Hollywood that we have. We have Yahoo, we have Facebook, we have YouTube, we have Microsoft, we have Oracle. We have just a variety, a plethora of content manufacturing. So let us not forget that digital content is manufactured. It's different than manufacturing and having to tool a product. And it's very, very exciting right now. So I do believe that the platform, I think Gary Shapiro has done an unbelievable job. He really is nonstop, 20 hours a day, and has built a franchise and has never stopped. He added to it, he added to it. He's added to what your vision was originally, and we're very grateful. By the way, Noel Lee.
Yeah.
Noel Lee, if you want to talk about someone who understands that creativity and imagination allows you to escape the predictable is how will you sell a cable and make a market out of cables. He's done it. And for me, he's a mentor. He is very smart, has done very little commercial advertising, but at the last 3 feet of the sale, where it really matters, his packaging, his products, his competitive advantage against the competition has led him to be a world-class Spartan in the business.
Well,
and
thanks,
that's
you guys.
the beauty of that show.
Yeah,
of having the guy with a 10x10 booth could be the next Panasonic or RCA.
Sure. All right. Do we have time to bring my daughter out here? I want her to say hello when we get a chance. We have. Yeah, I want everybody to take a look at my pride and joy. We have time?
We're seeing if she's mic'd.
Oh, she's not mic'd. You think she's ready to party? I'm so proud. I want Jack and also Peter to meet my little girl. And we're family people. That's what we all are. Jack, how many kids you got?
5 of them.
How many grandchildren?
I have 13 and 10 great-grandchildren.
So
we did something beside the Consumer Electronics
Yes,
show.
you did. You created a lot. And Peter, of course, has your great daughter, Tara.
Yes, Tara.
And your wife.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if my daughter can come out here or not. We don't have time? We're going to find out? Yeah. Okay.
Well, this is, that's the other nice thing is that all of this work that we've all done, we've been able to provide for our families and make them smarter and sharper and deliver them the kind of tools that they need and want.
Well, that's what I was getting at, is our country really is an inventive, we're a nation of innovation, but we also are a nation of families.
Right.
And I think families really, although we're separated in many ways, the electronics has put us together and taken us apart. It's a dichotomy.
Right.
So whatever has put us together has also taken us apart. So we got to kind of like live in the center. You got to walk right down the middle and have a little bit of, I would say, some discipline.
Well, I think the other part too is that, and Jack and Joey and myself, in the world of taking care of our families, the way I've always had to look at the world, I need to have a profit for the company that I work for and I'm honored to work for in their business. It's the cold steel of the P&L. And if I don't have a profit, I'll be fired. When I go to my home life, I've got to have a profit to bring home to my home life, as you well know, right. Because if you don't, you'll wind up getting fired. There'll be a fight, there'll be a problem, you lose your house or your apartment. So it's a really fine balance between the two. And again, I'm blessed to have grown up in the Wintel architecture with the great Microsoft and the great Intel, and be able to afford my family a good life because of all this technology, whether it's consumer electronics or IT. And I go back to Jack and go, thank you, sir. Your humble servant over here says thank you.
Who knew? Who knew?
You knew.
Yeah. And
Jack knew.
Don't ruin our platform. You're pounding on our platform.
Whoops, sorry about that.
So what do you think about our triple platform, about radio, television, and internet?
I think that the trilogy, the troika, the three-legged stool is critically important because, one, the internet's going to give us the global flavor. Right now, we're projecting in X market. With the internet, we can go out as far as we want and come back, and we can bring in new subscribers and new circulation to enjoy what's going on here. Number two, hello, this is Times Square. This is the center. Your backyard, as you like to say, is Times Square, and we need to bring that in. Radio is great, terrestrial radio. I love terrestrial. As you know, you built your whole franchise on it.
Over the air.
But why can't we do that? Why can't we deliver content, which is what you are, to all three, radio, television, and the internet, simultaneously? And we will. We're building on it now, Joey, as you know, and the demand is there, and it needs to be in all three locations. And oh, by the way, we'll see you on iPads. We'll see you on the Motorola Zoom. We'll see you on, the new RIM
Xbox.
And the Xbox, right. We'll see you everywhere. But if, it's just like, I remember someone saying once, if Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones never got out of their basement and just played and practiced in their basement, we would never have met them, and we wouldn't have enjoyed all of their content. So we've got to break you out of just a local market and get you on a global footing and scale and give people what they want. Choice, not chance. I want Joey on the radio. I want Joey on my iPad. I want Joey on TV. I want Joey in Bulgaria.
Well, how about a little bit of a hologram? Would you like me on a hologram or an avatar?
Are we on a hologram right now?
I don't know. I think
you're not an unattractive man. I might like you on an avatar.
But I'm living my dream. Isn't that an important thing?
It is.
It is.
Yeah. And Jack is living his, and you're living yours.
Yes.
We got three guys living their dreams. We'll be right back. Joey Reynolds Show. Let a smile be your umbrella. Don't get a mouthful of rain.